Here's a full 1600-word article for your YouTube video on the 1957 AC Ace Bristol restoration. I've written it in a flowing, story-like manner without headings, so it works perfectly for narration in your video. The year was 1957, and the AC Ace Bristol was already establishing itself as one of the most remarkable sports cars of its time. Born from the post-war British motoring scene, this lightweight roadster combined elegance, performance, and racing pedigree in a way that very few cars could. Its sleek aluminum body, handcrafted with traditional coach building techniques, sat atop a tubular chassis that was advanced for its era. Under the hood, the Bristol straight six engine gave the Ace the performance it needed to challenge some of the biggest names on the racing circuits, including at the legendary 24 Hours of Le Mans. To own an AC Ace Bristol was not just to possess a car, it was to own a piece of motorsport history. Fast forward to today, and the car we are featuring has traveled a long and difficult road, surviving decades of wear, neglect, and damage. Once a proud Le Mans competitor, this particular Ace Bristol had fallen into disrepair, its panels rusted, its structure weakened, and its glory days almost forgotten. But thanks to the expert hands at Gassman Automotive, it has been given a new life, a meticulous restoration that has transformed it from a relic into a concours-level masterpiece. When the car first arrived at the restoration workshop, it was clear this would be no ordinary project. The AC's bodywork showed the scars of time and racing, with corroded aluminum panels, hidden structural rust, and signs of past repairs that had not stood the test of time. The once beautiful lines of the Ace had been dulled by decades of neglect, and beneath the surface, the chassis needed critical attention. But rather than seeing a hopeless case, the team at Gassman Automotive saw a challenge worthy of their skills. After all, restoring such a historically significant car was not just about fixing metal, it was about honoring a legend, a machine that once thundered down the Mulsanne Straight at Le Mans. The restoration began with a complete disassembly. Every panel, every nut, and every bolt was carefully removed, catalogued, and assessed. The tubular chassis, which formed the backbone of the Ace's design, was stripped down and inspected for integrity. Years of corrosion had weakened several sections, and precision repairs were required to ensure the structure was both safe and faithful to the original engineering. Using traditional metal shaping techniques, the restoration team fabricated replacement sections, seamlessly blending them into the original frame so that the car retained its authenticity while regaining its strength. Next came the bodywork, a process that could only be described as an art form. The AC Ace Bristol's body was originally hand-formed from lightweight aluminum, a material that offers both beauty and challenges. Working with aluminum requires patience and expertise, and the craftsmen at Gassman Automotive rose to the occasion. Damaged panels were carefully reshaped or replaced with new hand-formed sections, hammered and smoothed to perfection. The body was painstakingly aligned to ensure that the car's lines flowed exactly as they had in 1957, capturing the graceful yet purposeful stance that made the Ace so admired on both road and track. With the body restored to its former glory, attention turned to the paintwork. Choosing the right color was not just a matter of preference but of heritage. Historical records were studied, and samples from the car itself were examined to determine the correct shade. The team decided to return the Ace to its period-correct racing livery, honoring its Le Mans history. Layer upon layer of paint was applied, each coat meticulously sanded and polished to achieve a deep, mirror-like finish. The result was breathtaking, an exterior that looked as if it had just rolled out of the factory in 1957, but with a level of finish that met the highest concours standards. Of course, a restoration of this caliber is not complete without addressing the mechanical heart of the machine. The Ace Bristol was powered by the famous Bristol straight six engine, an advanced powerplant derived from pre-war BMW engineering. Revered for its smoothness and power delivery, this engine had given the Ace a competitive edge on the racetrack. The restoration team stripped the engine down to its bare components, inspecting every part for wear and damage. Pistons, bearings, valves, and gaskets were replaced with new or rebuilt parts, ensuring reliability and performance. The carburetors were rebuilt and tuned, while the gearbox and differential received the same meticulous attention. The braking system, suspension, and steering components were all overhauled to provide the precise handling that the Ace was known for. Inside, the restoration continued with equal dedication. The AC Ace Bristol's interior was simple yet elegant, designed for both comfort and focus on driving. The original seats, now worn and cracked, were carefully reupholstered in high-quality leather, matched to the original specifications. The dashboard, with its classic Smith's gauges, was restored to full working order, every dial and switch functioning as it had in the late 1950s. The wooden steering wheel, a hallmark of British sports cars of the era, was refinished to a warm, rich glow, ready to guide the car through corners once again. Every detail was considered, down to the stitching on the seats and the finish on the pedals. As the final assembly began, the car slowly transformed from a collection of parts into a complete, living machine once more. The freshly rebuilt engine was lowered into place, the transmission connected, and the suspension carefully aligned. Wiring was run with precision, ensuring reliability while keeping the period-correct appearance. As the final panels were fitted and polished, the car looked as though it had been transported through time, a 1957 Le Mans competitor reborn for the modern world. The first startup was a moment of triumph. With a twist of the key and the press of the starter button, the Bristol Straight Six roared to life, its sound echoing the spirit of endurance racing history. Smooth, powerful, and full of character, it was a reminder that this car was not just a showpiece but a machine built to be driven. Road tests confirmed that the Ace delivered the same exhilarating performance that had made it famous: nimble handling, responsive steering, and a driving experience that connected man and machine in a way only a true classic can. When the restoration was finally complete, the car was unveiled to its owner and the public. The reaction was one of awe. What had once been a deteriorating relic was now a concours-level masterpiece, ready to take its place among the finest classic cars in the world. Its journey from Le Mans racer to forgotten relic and finally to concours perfection was a story not just of craftsmanship, but of passion and respect for automotive history. The AC Ace Bristol is more than just a car, it is a bridge between eras. In the 1950s, it represented the height of British sports car engineering, a machine that could hold its own against the likes of Ferrari, Porsche, and Jaguar. Today, thanks to restorations like this one, it stands as a reminder of what makes classic cars so special. They are not simply machines of metal and rubber, but works of art, expressions of innovation, and vessels of history. Each nut and bolt tells a story, each mile driven carries the legacy of those who raced, maintained, and loved these cars. This 1957 AC Ace Bristol now stands ready to inspire a new generation of enthusiasts. Whether displayed at concours events, driven on scenic roads, or admired in a private collection, it will continue to captivate with its beauty and its story. It is a car that has lived through the glory of racing, the trials of time, and the rebirth of restoration, a car that embodies endurance in every sense. The work of Gassman Automotive on this project demonstrates the very best of what restoration can achieve. It is not just about replacing parts or applying paint, it is about breathing life back into something that might otherwise have been lost forever. It is about preserving history, honoring craftsmanship, and creating something that can once again be experienced and appreciated as it was meant to be. For car enthusiasts, restorers, and dreamers alike, this story of the 1957 AC Ace Bristol serves as an inspiration. It reminds us why we care about classic cars, why we invest so much time and passion into preserving them, and why they continue to capture hearts around the world. The revival of this Le Mans legend is not just the story of a car, it is the story of heritage, craftsmanship, and timeless beauty brought back from the edge of oblivion. So when you see this gleaming AC Ace Bristol, restored to perfection, imagine it as it once was, tearing down the Mulsanne straight in the dead of night, headlights piercing the darkness, engine howling, driver focused on the challenge of endurance racing. Then imagine its journey through decades of neglect, only to be saved, restored, and celebrated once more. That is the true magic of restoration, and that is why this car, this legend, will never be forgotten. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing restorations, and stay tuned as we continue to uncover and celebrate the stories behind the world's most iconic classic cars. Checkmark word count. Approximately 1,600. Would you like me to also make a shorter 300 to 400 word version for your YouTube video description, SEO optimized with hashtags?